opportunity. We are testifying in support of HB 626. My name is Sue Leary, and I'm president of the Alternatives Research and Development Foundation. We've made grants totaling over $4 million to advance new approach research methods that do not use animals. These methods, as you've heard, are model systems based on human biology and comprise some of the really most exciting and innovative research and testing and biomedical research. So I have submitted written testimony. I ask that you take a look at that because it has more extensive comments and references. But today I did want to highlight that our nonprofit foundation has proudly supported a number of projects at highly respected research facilities in Maryland, which, as you know, has a unique concentration of scientific expertise. But I want to emphasize that we are well aware that more investment is needed. Our foundation can only do so much. We enthusiastically support this legislation's plan to establish a fund for human relevant non-animal testing and research. These methods show enormous promise to really break through and rapidly advance human health and reduce animal suffering, but a considerable investment is needed. The fact is that our experience has shown that incentives work and funding does motivate innovation. So as has been mentioned, some of these very exciting systems have been developed recent years, astounding progress developing these technologies. And this is recognized, and anyway, we support a favorable report on this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Leary. Mr. Hickman?
Hello, thank you very much for the committee for allowing me to speak. I'm in support of this bill. And I just wanted to say is that I've been working in this area for about 30 years. And one of the founders, and I founded a company with Mike Schuler, who is considered the founder of the field, about 7 years ago. And we have been working with commercial entities to be able to expand the breadth of knowledge in this field, and also to try to educate people. And that's partially what I'm trying to do for this committee. And that the main thing is to try to get regulatory acceptance of these models in living animals. And it has to be understood that there's a big difference between looking at efficacy, does the drug work, versus looking at safety. And the critics of the bill are going to say that, well, you're going to always need animals, and they're correct for safety, okay, but not necessarily for efficacy, okay? And this is where we're at right now, where we're already developing models for efficacy. Our company had helped Sanofi to get a drug repurposed, okay, that had safety data in humans into a clinical trial with just efficacy data from one of our models. So the regulatory folks are actually in favor of this. And also, lastly, speaking for the chance of the rare disease community, is everybody says, well, either animals or these new microphysiological systems. But actually, for rare diseases, there's over 7,000 rare diseases, only 400 active research programs. So not only will you be helping diminish the number of animals, you'll also be helping a whole class of folks who don't have animal models to rely upon if you actually increase funding in this area in this bill. Thank you much for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Armento.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to the honorable members of this committee. My name is Alex Armento, and I'm the president and CEO of MathTech Life Sciences, a Massachusetts-based biotechnology company and a global leader in the development and manufacture of human-relevant alternatives to animal testing for product safety and efficacy. We are tissue engineers, and we use human cells to create lab-grown, miniaturized human tissues which mimic the structures and functions of native human tissues. To date, we manufacture 15 different types of human organ tissues, both healthy and diseased, including skin, eye, oral, nasal, lung, intestinal, and vaginal tissue. These models have been cited in more than 1,000 scientific publications and more than 500 patent citations. In addition, 6 of our test methods, including skin irritation and eye irritation testing, have been fully validated by regulators as standalone alternatives to animal tests, such as the rabbit Draize test. We conservatively estimate that the use of our human-relevant tissue models by our customers in the pharmaceutical, personal care, and cosmetic industries have saved the lives of roughly 100,000 laboratory animals in 2022. Even more important than the ethical goal of sparing laboratory animals, the companies that are tasked with developing safe and effective consumer products and pharmaceutical therapies can obtain testing results that are much more relevant to actual human biological responses. My last point, MatTech is also a success story as it relates to government funding. Over the first 25 years of our existence, we were awarded several SBIR Phase 1 and Phase 2 grants to develop many of our existing tissue models and test methods to predict tissue-specific human toxicities. Although we no longer seek these types of government grants, MatTech has built a growing and sustainable business that will continue to lead in the field of human relevant testing. We now employ 75 people across scientific and administrative positions, and as we continue to grow our business, we'll always be grateful for the previous government funding that still allows us to have an impact in the field today. On behalf of our team at MatTech Life Sciences, I strongly support HB 626. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your work, all of you, and your time. Ms. Fullerton.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Fullerton. I'm Vice Chair of the American Bar Association Animal Law Committee, and I'm here today representing the Maryland State Bar Association Animal Law Section. I've been briefed on the amendments, and I do find them to be appropriate. And it's also important to note that with these amendments, the bill will be very narrowly tailored. So it will serve solely as a funding mechanism. It does not require new reporting or additional oversight. The penalty provision will be stricken, and the regulatory component is a completely separate bill. So the only issue that is presented to this committee in passing this bill is, as the delegate mentioned earlier, should Maryland promote state-funded medical research to develop human-relevant testing methods? And that answer is yes. It would benefit so many of the people and issues that we've heard about earlier today. And also, we have some of the best research institutions in the country. This bill would directly benefit them as well. This bill is how we accomplish those goals. The funding mechanism aims to be revenue neutral, and it will not depend on government funds to achieve our goals. The framework is modeled after another research fund, which is already administered by TEDCO. So we have high confidence that this bill is an effective strategy for driving critical research and more effective testing. To sum up, Maryland is already a hub for biotech and research. This bill is how we will preserve that interest while incentivizing research that benefits our state, our people, and our animals. Thank you.
Your testimony was excellent, very clear. Thank you. Are there any questions for these four virtual witnesses? First, Ways and Means.
Wish I did my first time in the front row, probably my last.
Well, you're welcome in HCL anytime. Okay, so we do have Delegate Martinez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could someone on the panel, or I guess just tell me how many organizations, foundations, or research institutions in Maryland currently conduct human relevant research?
Do any of the four panelists, if you know, will you unmute yourself? If you don't, it's okay. We can ask that question offline.
I can provide you more detailed information offline.
Thank you so much. Can you send it to Delegate Martinez and the entire committee as well, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We have Delegate Hill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for being here and for this important work. Simple question. There's a lot of federal funding that's going into this same thing, National Cancer Institute, even the USDA. Why does Maryland need to provide additional grant and underwriting for this kind of research when the federal government and private institutions are already doing it?
Who will be the best person to answer? Okay, Mr. Hickman, you raise your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, the reason why was the one gentleman earlier said it best, is that to accelerate it. Okay, there is some investment in this field, but compared to the overall research endeavor out there in terms of pharmaceutical industries, animal models and things at NIH, this is only a very, very small fraction devoted to microphysiological systems, human-on-a-chip-based systems. All we're looking for is to increase that and be getting any help, federal government, state governments, okay, as well as commercial funding for this area will help promote this faster, quicker, okay, and be able to alleviate suffering for patients who just don't have any other hope of using traditional methods.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committees? Seeing none, thank you very much. We do have two witnesses favorable. Can you come up, please? Miss Lisa Rada, Jennifer Bevan Dangle. Will you both come up, please? And as soon as you sit, if you can start your testimony, that would be great.
Good afternoon, Chair Pena-Melnick, members of HGO, and esteemed friends from Ways and Means. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Lisa Radov. I'm the president and chair of Maryland Votes for Animals, here in support of HB 626. You've heard from people with way more scientific knowledge and expertise than I'll ever have. I'm here on behalf of all of our members across the state who want to see medical research move forward, saving animals at the same time, and also helping Maryland's economy, because Maryland does have a lot of world-famous research institutions as well as world-class hospitals. We feel that this would bring this to Maryland, and we say that it would be a win-win-win. Win for the economy, win for medical research, and win for the animals. And with that, I'd like to thank Delegate Cullison, whom I hope will feel better soon, and thank you all so much. And I would ask for a favorable report.
Thank you. Thank you for your work. Next, please.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Jennifer Bevan Dangle. I'm the State Director for the Humane Society of the United States. I'm simply going to address a few questions that were raised throughout this hearing today. To answer Delegate Martinez's question, there's roughly 22 facilities in the state that test on covered animals. Now, it is important to keep in mind that a lot of animals, there's no reporting, there's no oversight, there's no federal license, so we don't know how many institutions in the state are testing on animals, but as far as these animals that are protected under the Animal Welfare Act, there is about 20. It's a pretty fair mix of institutions, higher education institutions, and then private corporations. So that's sort of the universe we're thinking of when we look at these fees. I do want to reiterate what Mr. Galley said about the fiscal note. We think that the amendments significantly streamline. We're eliminating the licensing, we're eliminating a lot of oversight, we're eliminating the reporting. So we are very cautiously optimistic that that fiscal note is in truth considerably lower than what was presented to you. And lastly, just to speak to some of the questions that have been raised around, why the state investing in this, why a government program, I do want to stress this state has made a commitment to biotech, and it is something that the state is proud of. It is something that we as Marylanders are proud of, that we are really a leading state for our research. Human relevant research is the part of that research universe that will move us into the next coming decades. You've heard from a lot of these emerging companies on the importance of these emerging technologies, but they are just that, they are emerging. And this will help incentivize, it will help accelerate, which is good not just for businesses in Maryland, as well as for people facing diseases who currently do not have a cure, and of course, for the animals. So with all of that said, we urge a favorable report.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Ways and Means Committee, for these two witnesses? The HGO Committee, Delegate Kerr.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
My pleasure.
The National Cancer Research Institute is in my district. Does this apply to federal property?
No, the state cannot put fees on federal institutions. So it's my understanding it would just be the 20 state level institutions and private corporations.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for your testimony today. We really appreciate it and for your work.